Do you ever have those moments where you think you might have healed like too close to the sun? Like you healed too close to the sun? Like you see so much now around you that like it's just layers upon layers and it's just overwhelming. Do you ever feel that way, or maybe I'm just the only one? And when I was growing up, my mom taught me how to cross stitch. Cross stitch, embroidery, very similar thing. Cross stitch, funny enough, is a very methodical way to do crisscrosses of stitches that are in this grid pattern that's very organized, that looks very organized. But if you've ever flipped over one of these cross stitches or embroideries, you'll see that there's chaos. There's like different colored threads going from here to here and like jumbled, and like it doesn't look anything like the front, which is very organized. And I think sometimes I might have healed too much. Like I know, like I think that I know like what is this person's motivation, like what is the real reason for their motivation, like what am I feeling, like what is my trauma healing, like what, like, and this is coming from somebody who also is an over intellectualizer, right? So there's a scene from The Matrix, the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, where Cypher is showing Neo. Neo has, spoiler alert for this movie, but Neo has woken up and he's now looking at this computer screen with these green letters going down the screen, and he's like, "What?" And Cypher says, "Oh yeah, well the interpreters are for the machines. Like you don't really know what's going on unless you're just reading the code." He's like, "I don't even see the code anymore. I just see blonde, brunette, redhead." Like this is like him saying, like, I can see the makeup of the Matrix. And later in the movie, spoiler alert for The Matrix if you haven't seen it, Cypher is actually working with the agents to essentially he's gonna give up the location of the leader. He's gonna give up the location of the main guy. I forgot what his name was. Anyways, Lawrence Fishburne. And he's having a meeting with one of the agents, and he's eating this big juicy steak, and he's cutting the steak and he's shoving it in his mouth, and he goes, "You know, I know that when I eat this steak that it's not real. You know, I know that it's just code telling my mind what this tastes like." And he shoves it in his mouth and he chews it and he goes, "Ignorance is bliss." And like that's the thing. Like I don't want to go back to my unhealed state. I don't want to go back to a state where I am just blissfully ignorant or able to just see things in a specific way, right? I don't want to go back to that. But because I know just enough, it kind of becomes a thing where it's kind of like, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And I understand, like, that's my over intellectualizing, and I understand, like, I can regulate myself, and I understand that I don't have to know everything. But, like, it's so strange. It's like in the movie The Matrix, there's a point at which Neo, like, just sees everything around him, but then he sees, like, the agents, and they're, like, made out of code, right? That's how I feel like I am with people and situations and relationships and everything. It's like I can see what's going on, but I can also see the code. Now, granted, I don't know everything, obviously, and I am, it's funny that we take these new little tools that we learn in the healing process, and now we're trying to apply them to everything, and I understand that. It's just enough slices. Sometimes it's just a lot. And I understand that there's like this period between starting to heal and kind of healing and then reintegrating or learning how to deal with the new reality that you find yourself in. I understand that, but still, it's kind of like every once in a while I wish I could just close my eyes and wake up and be able to just be like living in the world with myself feeling like I know everything, I know what's going on. Because the funny thing is, the more you heal, the more you understand how people work and deal with your traumas and work through all of that, the more you start to realize that, like, you don't know anything. Like, the more you learn, the more you don't know anything. And it's hard because you kind of feel like you're floating, like, out there in this void now. There's like no handholds to hold on to because you're not sure which of these handholds is reliable. You don't know which one is true. You don't know, like, well, wait a minute, like, even down to the point where you start to question, like, free will. Like, do I even have free will? Like, which I actually kind of feel like a lot of us don't. Like, we're not making choices. We're just chemical systems that are reacting to things based on everything, but people don't like the idea of not having free will. It's just a lot sometimes, and I understand, like, it's something I'm going to have to continue to get used to. It's something that I'm going to continue to have to work on, and I'm pushing through to make sure that I can actually find people in my life that will kind of allow me to kind of have this new reality, and people that will, vibe with this new kind of thing. Because a lot of times, once you kind of start waking up, like, people that are in your life tend to sometimes not like that version of yourself. But anyways, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. It's enough slices. It's a lot. And any of us that are in this middle space between starting to heal or having healed and now you're trying to reconstruct your own reality, like, I'm going to try to give myself grace. I'm going to try to give myself grace. I'm going to try to give myself time. I'm not going to try to rush it. I'm just going to try to learn regulation tactics. I'm going to learn how to see the realities of what's going on. But the other risk, I feel like, is that over intellectualizing that I tend to do a lot. And I'm trying also not to over intellectualize. I'm trying to base what I'm thinking and feeling on the reality of the situation as best as I can. I don't want to think, oh, I have all these tools now, and that person's this, and that person's this, and that person's this, so therefore clearly I understand everything. No, they're still human beings. You're still a human being. So, anyways. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.